Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I want to show you how I made this armhole princess dart structured bustier for my client. There is a video she sent to me. I'm going to be showing you how to cut this and have achieve a neat finishing like this depending on whatever material you have with you. So here is the cutting aspect of the tutorial. I went ahead to draft out my basic pattern for both the front and the back pattern. So I'm going to be dropping a link to how you can achieve that, so just go through it. And once you have something like this, you just need to connect the shoulder point, the mid of the shoulder point to the bust point like that, the way I did them. So now the next thing I went ahead to do was to take in more darts. I made sure I tightened my under bust. So for this I used 0.2 inch and 1 inch on the other side. This actually depends on whatever allowance you have left on that side. So depending on what you have left, you can go into shaping your under bust in that manner. So here, once I was done shaping my under bust, I went in to connect the lines to my waistline like that. So once I was done doing that and I was okay with the shaping, I went in to slash open the shoulder point up to the bust point, and I also separated my front and my back pattern to enable me close my bust that like that. So once I was done, I just I came out 1 inch on that shoulder line like that, which is going to serve as my dart for that side. And once I was done, because I'm going to be cutting off that side or closing it, whichever way you want it, I made sure that I extended my shoulder line by the same 1 inches out. So that was just what I did there. So once I was done, I made sure I closed the shoulder that I drew earlier, and I opened the bust dart so I can have more room. So here I just went in to use my tape to just hold the shoulder darts down. So once I held it down, I made sure that I open my bust dart back. This is to allow the pattern to relax. So once I did that, I just went into reshape the shoulder lines like that. So once you're doing a lot of blending, once you're doing a lot of closing and opening of that, you're going to be blending, you're going to be reshaping a lot. So here I was just going in to shape my armhole princess that like that. So it is just quite easy. So I just went in to close my bust dart again. So here I am closing it permanently because I already drew out my armhole princess that's the way I want it to be. So once I was done closing the bust dart, I just went in to reblend my bust like that. So you just reblend the curve for the bust and you also reblend the sides. So if you want to get a more detailed tutorial on how to achieve this princess dart, I also have a detailed tutorial on that, so you can check it out. This tutorial is mainly for the structured bustier, which I'm going to be explaining in detail. So here I'm just going in to cut out the sides first. Once I was done cutting out the sides, I now went in to cut out the mid part as well. So not forgetting the 1 inch I extended for the armhole area. So I went in to just cut it out like that. So once I was done, I needed to snatch my waistline a bit, so I just went in to snatch it by 0.5 inches. So this 0.5 inches does need little or nothing to the snatching of the waistline. I did 0.5 inches because it is going to have a zip at the back. I'm not going to be having any laced up back, any rope at the back. So that was why I did 0.5 inch for the sides like that. So here I was just going in to check my measurements if they were intact, and I just went in to cut off the 0.5 inch that I used to snatch the waistline like that. So once I was done with that, I went in to start working on the back because I wanted a yoke for the back as well. I just used my master curve to just, trace out what I want like that, and I also make sure I extended the dart to the yoke part. So here I was just, marking out my pattern, and I also make sure that I checked if my pattern measurement was accurate, not forgetting to snatch the back as well. So I went in to snatch the back by 0.5 inch as well, and I'm just going to be cutting like that. Okay, so I think I decided not to snatch the back by 0.5 inch because I didn't want it too tight on her, because it's going to have a zipper, and she basically told me she didn't want anything that was going to be too tight, inconvenience her, so she can eat a lot of party jollof fries and all that. So here I was just going into, use my marker to just mark out my patterns, tracing my arrows so I know which side is facing up, and which side is facing down, and which side has that, and all of that. So here I just went in to reshape my back neckline, because the neckline there was for the basic back neckline. So I just went in to draw like a v-shaped neckline for the back, and I just cut it off like that. So here, going in for the v shape that was that served as the yoke for the front part, here was how I did it. I just went in by points like 1 inch on the shoulder part, and I just connected it to the bust points like that, making use of my master curve. So here I just went into, mark my pattern to know that that side is on fold, and I also labeled the net part so I know that I am cutting my net with that pattern. I also went ahead to extend the basic neckline by 0.5 inch up and down, so it's not too, too choky on our neck. So here I just went in to cut my new neckline, and that is it. I went in to cut out everything on my fabric. So here I was just showing you the allowance I added to all the sides. So for the dart sides I added 0.5 inches, the necklines I added 0.5 inches as well, and for the M I added 1 inch, the sides I added 1.5. So depending on what allowance you want to add, so make sure you add them accordingly, and make sure that when you're holding your pattern while sewing, you're holding the same allowance you add, so your clothing comes out perfect. So here I'm just showing you the yoke for the front and the back, and that is just basically what I did there. So here is the interfacing, the strong interfacing, which is called wadding. I just went ahead to cut it like that. So you want to cut your fabric, make sure your fabric is folded into two when you're cutting. Also the same thing goes for your interfacing as well. So here is my net, the nets that I use for the yoke for the front. So here I'm just turning it right side and right side facing each other. I just went into, sew on the neckline like that. So when I was done sewing on the neckline, I went in to turn it to the right side, and I just used my machine to, to secure it down. So here I was done securing both sides, and now I'm going to go into, join it to the V part on the fabric, the Ankara fabric as well. So here you want to join right side to right side, and you join it like that. So just hold in 0.5 inch, the same allowance I added to the pattern. Remember, whatever you had to your pattern, you have to take it out back. So here I'm going to be joining all the way to the V point, but I'm not going to sew all the way down. I'm going to be stopping like 0.5 inch before the end. So there I was done with the first part. I'm going to be going into, sew the second part the same way I did the first part, stopping before the final point. So here is what it was looking like. So when I was done doing that, I just made sure that you're going to make sure you sew in the mid side. So remember I said don't sew all the way down, so that is going to be useful here. So you're just going to, flip everything inside like that, and you're going to start sewing point from the 0.5 inch or seam allowance. So this ensures that your V part has a neat finishing. So that is what I did for this. So can you see how it was looking neat and everything was looking nice and fine? So that is what I did there. So I went in to start joining the sides as well. So here was the sides of the pattern that I cut. So I went in to add the interfacing, which was the other one. So I was just showing you where your interfacing should stop. It shouldn't go into the parts that has the net, so it's not showing outside. And yes, so once you have a clean interfacing, you iron it very well on top of your fabric, and you're going to start sewing like that. So can you see that my interfacings on the underbust line, they match each other? So you want to make sure that you take your time when you're cutting your interfacing. You start cutting from the underbust area, then you stop like maybe your chest line, or like 1.5 inch after your chest line, depending on how high you want it. So here I was done sewing one part of the bustier. So there was what it was looking like, sorry. So here I'm going to go into, start sewing the second part. So armhole princess, that is not hard. So depending on how you cut your pattern, that is going to determine how your cup is going to form, how much is going to form, and how fitted is going to look on your clients. So you want to take your time with the cutting aspect, take your time to understand the cutting aspects, also before you start, trying to understand the sewing part. So you take your time to understand the cutting aspect as well. Everything is important. Cutting, the sewing aspect, everything is important. So just take your time with it. So here is what it was looking like. Here's what the front part was looking like, and I was just showing you what the inside looks like that. So I went in to join the lining the same way I did the main fabric, and here is the back. I'm going to be showing you what I did to structure the front part later on. So here is the back. I just went into join the dart allowance, which was 0.5 inch. I went in to join the other part of the dart as well. So sorry, the other part of the back. So here is the yoke part for the back. So you are going to turn it out right side to right side together. You sew the neckline down, and you're going to be turning it, and you secure it in place the same way we did the front part. So here is the second part of the back, and just doing it the same way I did the first part. So now that we're done with the back, we're still going to go to the back later. So here is the front part. I want to start structuring it. So depending on what type of structure you want to give the fabric, the dress for that matter, so depending on how much you want to give. So here I just went in to add my structure to the lining parts alone. Yes, the main fabric also has structure, because I went in to add interfacing to the bust parts. So that is a structure on its own. So here I'm just adding my boning to the lining parts. I make sure I start from the mid part, and I just sewed it down like that, so making sure that I stop before the seam allowance. So here I was just going to cut my boning. Make sure that you bond the edges of your boning. So when I was done with that, I'm going to be going ahead to sew the other side of the boning, because the boning has two sides. So there I was just sewing the other part of the boning. So when I was done with the mid part, I went in to sew my boning on the that side. So here I started from the other bust part, and I just went into so hold my boning down with my sewing machine. So depending on how many lines, so I'm just doing this for the other part as well. So depending on how many lines you want your bonings to be, determines how much structure is going to give your bustier. So you might go in with more bonings, maybe in the mid, then by the side as well you might go in with more bonings. You might also det sorry you might also decide to structure the bust part by caging the bust part. So depending on how much you want to give, so that depends on how much structure your bustier is going to come out. So here that was what I did for the front part of you know that, and I just went in to add the boning to the back as well. So I only added to the that side for the back. So that was that. So now going into how you are going to finish the neckline. Remember, you have a joining there, so you're just going to hold it like that and flip it, so that when you start sewing, when you flip to the wrong side, all your sewing is going to be on the wrong side. So just watch it closely. So that was what I was doing here for the front part. And when I was done with this part, I am going to be sewing the other V part, so you can see how much the finishing looks like. So here I was done with the first part, so I'm just showing you how it looks like. So when you flip it, everything is inside, it's not showing on the right side. So here is the second part. So you're just going to flip it like that, and you're going to sew the same way you did the first part. So you might want to add your stay at this point, or your hemming gum, to just make sure that that part is secured, and it relaxes well on your client. So here I think I went in to later add my hemming gum later. So that was that. So now I'm going to be going into so sorry, here is how it was looking like when I was done. So I just decided to show you the structure it was given. So here is it. Can you see how it's looking like? So even if I decided not to cage it, it's still giving me what I want it to give. So one other thing I want to add is you might decide to cut off your warded off from the sewing allowance on the dart area, so your lining relaxes inside your bust very well. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So here is the back parts of the dress. So here I just went in to place my yoke in the middle of the main fabric and the lining, and I'm just going to be sewing it down like that. So not forgetting my hemming gum, I just went in to place it on the lining like that, and I'm just going to be sewing it. So here is what it was looking like. So you're going to want to, turn the zipper side as well. So this is the right time to turn the zipper side. If you want to turn the sides as well, you might do that, but here I decided to, use the back to, to just knitting up the sides for the front. So that was what I did here. I just made sure that my main fabric was together, then I flipped one lining from the back to just, sew the sides like that. So this is to ensure that all my sewing is inside for the sides. So when I turn it, I'm going to get a neat finishing inside like that. So this is another way to knitting the sides of your dress. So in case you're trying to do something like this, so here is how I achieved that. So here I just went in to, turn the back, the zipper for the back. So here is what it was looking like when I was done with the other side of the back. I went in to turn the other side as well, and that is what it was looking like. So here I'm just going to go in to, join my shoulder together. So here is the shoulder parts. Place right side to right side, then you flip one side of the net to turn it like that.